we got through almost all of Emil Cohn, right? But not the last three.
Richtig.
Okay, so why don't we start with that? Anybody opposed to starting with a little comedy, with a little levity?
Dennis, the red,
So let me see if I
can
can.
you, I asked you to bring,
I think you have to
Open.
mute us.
Had other stuff on here. Okay, Emil Cohn. There we go.
thank you.
Then we'll share the screen.
I don't know if I want to sleep here for 2 hours.
Okay.
It's an
Now we
hour.
need to make sure we have the sound working. Stop it. Why do you do this to
I
me?
don't know if Babs is there.
Yeah.
There we go.
No.
More.
You wanted to go.
Share the sound. Share it. Okay, so let's see. We had 3 to do. People speak only Yiddish. I think that's one we didn't do. Okay, so let's give a listen. If you have your sheet in front of you, your cheat sheet, that'll be good because he goes very quickly and his Yiddish is a little dialectic. My Bubba and Zayda spoke a little bit more like he does than like I do. All right?
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Down through the ages, the Jewish people's sense of humor has helped to sustain our souls in our struggle for survival. Now, I know that there are a lot of Jewish people who don't understand a word of Yiddish. On the other hand, there are a lot of Jewish people who don't understand a word of English. My grandfather speaks only Jewish, not a word of English, and it can create embarrassing situations. My grandfather, my Zayda, a very Orthodox man, was visiting me, and we lived too far from the Orthodox synagogue, so I decided to take him to a temple, which was right across the street from our home. He was visiting us for Shabbos. That evening, the sermon happened to be on the 10 Commandments, and the rabbi came to "Thou shalt not kill." My grandfather asked me, "What's it gesagt?" I said, gesagt mit ohne Tagen, and he says, "They are good." Then the rabbi said, "Thou shalt not steal." My grandfather asked me, "What's it gesagt?" I said, gesagt mit ohne Gamben, and he says, "Das gefällt mir sehr viel." I mean, he likes that. Then the rabbi came to "Thou shalt not commit adultery." My grandfather asked me, "What's it gesagt?" I didn't want to go into a long, embarrassing explanation. I decided to tell him something that would make him happy. I knew what would make him happy. I said, "Zayda, adultery meant I'm atonet unzinden die Gez on Shabbos and not allowed to kindle a light on a Sabbath." He said, "Die Drosche gefällt mir. This sermon I like." When the service was over, he walked up to the rabbi, shook his hand vigorously, and I'll tell you in English what my grandfather told the rabbi in Yiddish so you'll understand the story. He says, "You know, I enjoyed your sermon about this adultery very much, but about me you don't have to worry because in our house for this purpose we have a maid."
Maid.
No, if they don't understand, there isn't anything you can do about it. I have a grandmother, that's my Yankee Bubba, speaks only Yiddish, not a word of it. I'll never forget the day she walked into Filene's, that's a big department store in Boston, looked all around the store for a clerk to whom she could speak in Yiddish. Finally, she found a Yiddish-speaking clerk. By coincidence, this clerk had to be very bow-legged. She walked up to the clerk. She says, "Entschuldig mir, wo kauft man the Johnson's baby powder?" The clerk pointed down the aisle, started to walk. He says, "Geht a see, bis ihr wird kommen." She looked down. She says, "Wenn ich kann a see gehen, wollt ihr doch nicht gedacht, kein Johnson's baby powder."
Exactly. If I could walk that way, I would need the Johnson baby powder so bow-legged. Okay. You notice he says "vi kaift." The word is kaif. "Vi kaifman." Okay. He says "vi kaifman." All right. So we'll go back. That's that one. Let's see. What do we got here? The telegram. This is funny. This one is funny. But again, it's very quick. There's a lot of words there. So we know most of them. Anything that I didn't put in bold, we've already studied, or unless you're a newbie, then maybe.
Incidentally, there were 2 other members on the committee for choosing a chazan. One was a shadchan who had chosens and collars from New York to Dallas. Amoida Machaye was wait in Hawaii. Und Visitanz in Lombes is a clock to Columbus. Und a woman is Becky and she cooks sukiyaki. Mit a man an tickle, aber hot nit a nickel. Oh, the other one was a psychiatrist. And the reason they put a psychiatrist on the committee is because they figured if a man wants to become a chazan today, muss sein a bissel nit mit allem. Nit mit allem. And there's a beautiful Yiddish idiomatic expression that means he isn't with everyone. If a person isn't just right, we say is nit mit allem. And I heard two ladies talking. One of them was complaining to the other one about her husband. She says, mein Mann is nebach nit mit allem. And the other one says, what are you complaining about? Mein Mann is mit allem and nit mit mir.
My husband's with everybody else.
To read to you this evening, and it says, "So alle meine liebe süße Brüder und Schwestern,
Jewish comedian.
ich will euch allem wünschen einen hartigen Mazel Tov auf euer große Simche heim bei Nacht. Says der Eberster soll uns allem Menschen mit gesund und lange Jahren, und wird uns Menschen mit gesund und lange Jahren, wir werden schicken unsere Kinder in Yeshivas. Wir werden gehen in Schule 3 Mal am Tag, von Schachis und Musa, von Mincha und Meirev. Nicht nur Freitag bei Nacht, Shabbos in der Früh, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur und so Bar Mitzvahs, von einem neuen Bruder und neuen Schwester, Mr. and Mrs. Sammy Davis Jr.
That's how old that is.
Boy, this is what you call geklappt a telegram, isn't it, huh? And he speaks such a beautiful Yiddish. You wouldn't think in such a short period of time he learned to speak that way.
He did.
But I heard him, as a matter of fact, I spoke to him and I asked him, what are you doing? He says, I'm a tzitzismacher. I said, what's a tzitzismacher? He says, I stand behind card games and when someone makes a wrong play, I go...
I heard that from my father. I was 10 years old. A tzitzismacher.
Tzitzismacher.
Okay. Noch einer. This is the ufruf. The ufruf.
I just came back from the Catskill Mountains. I did. I was up there last night. I was walking from my room. You know, they give you a room to sleep over. And I was walking from the room I had down into the playhouse, and a man standing in the hall hollering, Gewalt! Gewalt! I asked him, was steht da dann schreit Gewalt? He says, mein Weib will sich herauswerfen durch die Winde. Frage ich ihn, was steht da dann schreit Gewalt? He says, ich kenne dafür in die Winde.
My wife's threatening to throw herself out the window. Why are you standing shouting Gewalt? I can't open the window. The ladies are laughing.
Let me tell you. I asked another fella, how you doing with the girls? He says, yesterday I had a date with 3 of them, Gladys, Myrtle, and Fido. I says, Fido's a dog. He says, if you think Fido's a dog, you should have seen Gladys and Myrtle. But entertaining Jewish audiences as I do is a problem. To begin with, Jewish people are no longer audiences, they're competitors. As soon as you start a story, everybody starts to shake their head. This I heard, it's an old story, and who needs them with his old stories? But being Jewish, one becomes accustomed to having problems. Whether you know it or not, having problems has become a Jewish characteristic. To the extent that when a college professor told a group of students in zoology to write a theme about elephants, the German student in the class with a scientific mind wrote 3 tremendous volumes, and this was just an introduction to the bibliography for the study of the elephant. The French student naturally wrote the sex and love life of the elephant. The Englishman wrote hunting the elephant. The American wrote the breeding and production of bigger and better and more elephants. And the Jewish boy wrote the elephant and the Jewish problem. Isn't it true? But being Jewish, one becomes accustomed to having problems. One of my biggest problems is how much Jewish does my audience understand? Fortunately, most of my audiences understand Jewish, understand a lot of Jewish, understand so much Jewish they understand very little or no English. A lady came to me after one of my programs recently, and she asked me in Jewish, "Oh, Mr. Cohn, is your talk published? Is it printed? Have you put out a book or a record?" I said, "I'm not that well known. Mine will probably be published posthumously." She says, "Oh, this is wonderful. I hope it won't take long." And if people don't understand, they just don't understand, and that there isn't anything. A lot of English-speaking people don't understand English. I know two ladies met in Paris. One of them said to the other, "Myrtle, how nice to see you. How long have you been in Paris?" Myrtle says, "Gladys, I've been in Paris 8 days, and I feel terrible. I've been here 8 days. I haven't even been to the Louvre once yet." The other says, "Neither have I. Maybe it's the water." I mean, you see, you just have to understand, and if you don't understand, there isn't anything you can do about it. I mean, go explain to her. Can you explain things like that to people? I know that a lot of Jewish people don't understand a word of Yiddish nor a word of Hebrew. I know I have a friend like that, a bookie, nicht wahr, keinem gedacht.
You should know.
I know that a lot of you in this room don't understand. Don't worry about it if you don't understand. This bookie friend of mine was going to get married. Being a Jewish boy and being a groom naturally was to be honored with an aliyah. You know what an aliyah is? It means a Jewish boy gets called up to the Torah in a synagogue to say some prayers, say the brachas. It's called a nufrof. In English, it's called an uprising. Get some upper is really an uprising. And for 3 weeks, they taught this bookie the Hebrew prayers, but they forgot to tell him his Hebrew name. And that's the first and only question that the man asks you when he calls you up. The Gabbai yelled out, "Ja, moid, Reb." And then he turned to the bookie and said, "Wie ruft men euch?" The bookie said, "Pennypacker 42770.
That is one call you.
This story reflects one of the changes in modern Jewish life. In the olden days, everyone knew their Hebrew names. Everyone was called Gedaliah, Mendel, Feivel, Shmuel, Nuchem. My name was Yerachmi Lelye Brebiel HaKohen.
Here's such a name. Okay. So this is Emil Cohn. So if you have the sheets in front of you, just to look about some of the things that was over there, things that we see, the things that some Jewish people say when they're speaking in Yiddish, it's not always Yiddish the way we learn the words. Okay. Rabbono Shel Olamim, that's the Hebrew, Master of the Universe. Rabbono Shel Olam. But if you listen to the people speak, my mother, when she played mahjong with the ladies, whenever they got a lousy hand, Rabbeinu Shalaylam, Shalaylam, Rabbeinu Shalaylam. Okay, and he was talking about a house in the song of Dudala, and he called it a hoiska. There is no such thing as a hoiska. It's a hoist. A hoiska, he's making a cutesy out of it. He's making a diminutive. It has like Russian overtones there with the K-E on the end of it. Okay. Let's see. There's some other things that I wanted to make sure that we went over.
Are you sleeping, Danny? What are you doing?
The song Achazan Dolav Shabbos. That is a piece of work. There isn't a chazan that I know that has done any kind of cantorial work that hasn't done this piece. However, the piece that Emil Cohn does is a parody of a Chazan Dolav Shabbos, and he puts some funny stuff in there. But if you ever get to hear, a good classical chazan do the song, especially if you appreciate chazanis, that is a piece that you want to get yourself into. In there, he uses an expression, Cantor on Shabbos. He's talking about a woman that's really undesirable, and he calls her unverzehrnischt. Okay, now if you translate that directly, the way he is saying it, It's kind of somebody that you shouldn't see. But there is no such expression as a Phariseer. Okay, so the question then comes, is he taking it from the word Pharisinish? This is a Pharisinish. A Pharisinish is a monster. And if she's a monster, she resembles a monster. Clearly, she's somebody that would be a Phariseanish, somebody that you wouldn't want to say. So is he mixing the two together? Vesechos. I can't tell you that for sure. But generally, that's not how you would say that. Then he refers to one of the people as a klippa, Klipah. It's really not easily translated, okay? Klippa is a Jewish concept that refers to a shell or a barrier that would obstruct God's divine light, all right? So clearly it's a big negative. She's somebody that blocks out even the light that God sheds on the earth, a klippa. Okay, that's the best way you can do with that. And further on, it says zihiket abyssal. She stutters. It's a slang word. It's a slang word. The more correct word for a stutter is sie stammelt or stammelt. Stammelt, stutters. Okay.
Oh, stumbled.
Right. Zihiket abyssal. People use the word. I think it's probably dialectical from one of the places we live, but stammelt is really the correct word. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to go over? We might have missed that needs a little extra. Oh, one of the things I love is in the judge story, right? He turns himself this way and that, and the guy says, the judge says, I sit in a swivel chair. I turn myself this way, I turn myself that way, and from this I can't make a living. And the old Jewish man looks at his lawyer and he says, "Wenn ich sitz, wer sitzt, I kann nicht machen a leben." If I was the judge sitting on a bench, can I make a living from that? Obviously, you're talking about taking bribes, but the funny part in that story, of course, is the guy translates directly, because when you do translation, and I did when I worked for the housing authority, I translated Yiddish for some of our Yiddish-speaking tenants. You have to translate verbatim. You can't change a word, even if they swear. You may apologize to the judge or the administrative, whoever's doing it, but you got to say, he said you're an effing fool, and the judge can't do anything to you because you are. They may hold him in contempt, but you have to translate exactly. So when he says, you have to sit in jail for 6 months, he says, "Ich kann sitzen in jail." He's asking a question, and the guy translated says, "No, I can sit in jail." He translates, "I can sit in jail." That's what makes that, mostly funny. So you do have to translate it exactly. All right. I don't think there was really anything else. Did anybody have any questions or hardships? Was this cheat sheet good? Did it do its trick for you?
I didn't get it.
This is who didn't get it?
I don't think I ever got. You're talking about for Emil.
Yeah, I sent it as an attachment when I sent the
Yeah.
invite.
I
Howard,
must
not
have
a
missed it.
problem. You have my email address, yes?
Yes.
All right.
Let's see. I've got the vocabulary. I've got expressions.
I didn't send it this time. I sent it last time when Harvey was going to do it. The recording. Okay.
Actually,
So
I found it on January 31st. I just searched it. Translations
Right,
for
'cause-
Emil Cohn.
That's it. Translations for Emil Cohn.
Yeah, I think
So
So who
check-
found it?
So check it. The
Steve.
January 31st email from Alan.
I want to
Right.
mention, I'm bringing a friend to the class. Her name is Dale Addison, and she lives in my building. And she she'll tell you, she grew up hearing a lot of Yiddish in her household.
Yeah, my Bubby used to speak Yiddish. And
Well, sign
that I didn't
up to
understand
become
any
a
of them.
regular.
yeah, right. But I only know
Dale?
Abyssal.
This is for people who they wissen not Abyssal Yiddish, nicht kein Sach. You're in the right place. The Yiddish Alive group, you really have to speak Yiddish because they go at it. Here you can be a beginner. Do sign up. Let me get your name on the list so I make sure I send you everything.
Okay, that would be
And then
good.
you'll
have her
have
put-
all the stuff that you can catch up on.
I'll have her put her email in the chat, okay?
Okay, but I still like her to sign up by going to the FJMC website so
Oh,
that we
okay.
have record of it.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
help
so
her do
you know
that.
how you signed up if you show her how to do it. All right, let's move
Okay.
on.
All
if
right,
we can.
I found it also,
I did too. When you gave me the date, I was
Yeah.
able to
January
find it.
31st, I
Okay,
found it.
so Kathy
I
and
just
Jerry
must have
have
missed
it.
it
Who
that
else
week.
had it?
I do
Okay.
have it. Howard has it.
And I have
Howard
it.
has it. All right, so just Babette and Juliet. Okay, we'll make sure we get it to you. You got to have that. All right, let's take a look at. That's not the one. That's not the one. Let me get this up here. All right, we actually did this last year at this time. We did.
DRUS.
We did this last year at this time, but in 2 weeks, and 2 Wochen in the Kommendek, Svat, what does that mean? Svat
Will be.
is Svat. Okay, Svat. It will be
It will be
Purim, which
Purim.
is Purim.
Boring.
Okay, and so we're going to do some of our one of our favorite people, Rachel Schechter, is going to help us with the Yiddish word of the day. Okay. And she has words and expressions that have.
I'm Rachel Schechter, editor of the Florets. Welcome to Yiddish Word of the Day. Today we'll talk about Purim. On Purim, it's a mitzvah to bring gifts of food to our friends and neighbors. We call that das Shalach Manis. Das Shalach Manis. The popular pastry we eat on Purim is called der Hamantash. Der Hamantash. But there are other delicacies. For example, der Floden. Der Floden. That's actually a pastry made of fruit and nuts wrapped up in a buttery sour cream dough. One of my favorites. Der Floden. Der Koilich is a very large challah served on Purim, usually made with at least 6 braids. Der Koilich. And how do we pronounce the names of the characters in the Megillah? Well, there's Esther Hamalke, Mordche Hatzadik, Achashverosh, and Haman HaRoshe. Let me teach you some proverbs that have the word Purim in it. One of them is said if you're pessimistic about something lasting very long. For example, if somebody says, so how long do you think that relationship will last? You can say, es wird gedauern von Esther Tanis bis Purim. It's going to take as long as it takes from the fast of Esther to Purim. The joke being it's only 1 day apart. It's not going to last very long. Es wird gedauern von Esther Tanis bis Purim. Another expression, if somebody is putting on a little bit too much weight, you could say, wächst in der Breit wie a Purim Koilich. He's getting as wide as a big Purim challah. Wächst in der Breit wie a Purim Koilich. And somebody who's a bit of a drinker, you could say, macht sich alle Tag Purim. He acts like every day's Purim, because on Purim it's a mitzvah to drink a lot. Macht sich alle Tag Purim. So let's review. I'll say the word or proverb, you repeat after me. Das Shalach Manis. Das Shalach Manis. Der Hamantash. Der Hamantash. Der Floden. Der Floden. Der Koilich. Der Koilich. Esther Hamalke. Mordche Hatzadik. Achashverosh. Achashverosh. Hamen Aroshe. Hamen Aroshe. Es wird gedauert von Esther Tonnes bis Purim. Es wird gedauert von Esther Tonnes bis Purim. Wächst in der Breit wie ein Purim-Keulitsch. Wächst in der Breit wie ein Purim-Keulitsch. Macht sich alle Tag Purim. Macht sich alle Tag Purim.
Notice the reflexive there.
I hope you enjoyed our Yiddish word of the day. Until we meet again, stay safe and healthy. Or as we say in Yiddish, seid gesund.
Okay. So let's give a look over here. Some of our vocabulary. If you spell it the way it's spelled in the English, it's Asrius, or whatever you would pronounce that.
No, Achashverosh.
In Yiddish, it's Achashverosh. Comes from the Hebrew Achashverosh, which actually comes from the Greek, which is Xerxes. King Xerxes, Xerxes was Achashverosh. An expression that I have that I want you to know, which is new that she didn't share. As Yidden reisen sich. Again, look at it. It's reflexive. As Yidden reisen sich herum. Is a simcha by all of the humans. Okay, when Jews fight amongst themselves, they reisen sich. Arum, they fight around themselves, among themselves. It's a joy, or the rejoicing to all the Hamans. And what are the Hamans? Those are the evil people. Those who hate us love when we fight each other. If you remember the story of going through the desert, when did Amalek attack? When we were at our weakest, when we had lost faith in God, when things weren't good, that's when Amalek attacked. When the Jews go after each other, that's the time that the outsiders come and get us. So all the Hamans, as Yidden reisen sich herum, is a simcha by the Hamans. Okay, Esther Hamalka, Hamalka in Yiddish, Hamalka in Hebrew. Okay, verstellt. Auf Purim megate rein verstellt. Okay, on Purim we go around in costumes. We go around disguised, right? The children come into shul. They're dressed as Haman. They're dressed as Esther. They're dressed as Mordecai. They're dressed as a rabbi. Some come dressed as cowboys and Indians. Whatever the modern day thing is, they're little people. So megate rein verstellt. We use this in our Halloween also, disguised or covered up. Fluden. This is absolutely delicious. And she describes it. It's pastry and nuts and a very, very buttery pastry dough. When I tell you that this is 1,000 calories, just looking at it, trust me, but it is scrumptious, unless you don't like nuts. Those people that come to shul, they gehen rein in Shul auf Purim, verstellt, Efshes ken ze winnen a phrase. Think of what a prize, a phrase, a prize. Again, remember in Yiddish, F and P, practically interchangeable. The Hebrew letter Fe, Pei, the one has a dot in it, the P, the hard sound without a dot, it's an F. But basically, they're very similar. So if you change the F to a P, praise, prize, it's almost a cognate. Okay? A garosh. A garosh is a noise. A garosh. Such a garosh. A zagarosh. And to make a noise, we use a grager. A grager. Usually you'll see that spelled as Grogger, but that's not a true Yiddish spelling. And if you pronounced it that way, it would be a grogger. But it isn't a grogger. It's a grager. You trill the R slightly. Agraga. Okay. We learned this one last year. Heint is Purim. Morgen is ois. And I spelled ois wrong. Uh-oh. I need a patch. Morgen is ois. Gib mir a Pfennig und wirf mir a Reis. Today is Purim. Tomorrow it's out. Tomorrow it's not Purim. Give me a penny and throw me out. Heint is Purim. Morgen is ois. Gib mir a Pfennig und wirf mir a Reis. Okay, that was something my father-in-law used to love that one all the time. Haman Harasha. Haman Harasha in Hebrew. Haman Harasha. A Hamantash. You will usually see it spelled Hamantashen. Hamantashen. But in the proper Yiddish, it's a Hamantash. 3-cornered pastry filled, particular to Purim. And you fill them with all kinds of things. One of my favorites is lekvar. Who knows what lekvar is?
Oh, yeah.
Lekvar is prune butter. If you eat enough humintashen filled with lekvar, it will be a very moving holiday for you. Clay and Vet start. A little joke there. Okay. Yes. Lekvar. My family doesn't like lekvar. I'm the only one, so I'm the humintashen baker, and I fill them with almond paste. I fill them with almond paste. I fill them with raspberry. I fill them with strawberry. And my daughter particularly likes peanut butter and Hershey Kisses that melt. So it's peanut butter and chocolate. And my daughter-in-law has picked up on that, so they get a couple of special ones. But my favorites are still the lekvar. And since I don't make them, my almond has become my favorite. So there's a humintashen. If you come to Purim verstellt, you come verstellt in costume, which is a costume. It's cognate. A koilech is a large 6-braided challah. If you've ever been to a Purim Suda, especially in shul, it's on the day of Purim itself, not the night before. But on Purim during the day, a lot of synagogues will have a Purim Suda, a very festive meal. And almost invariably, especially in the religious shuls, you will see a koilech. You think of your normal challah has 3 braids. A koilech has 6. It is a huge challah, really huge, and also quite good. The Megillus Rus, she didn't mention that, but on Purim, Malays, the Megillus Rus. The scroll, Megillah is a scroll or a book of Ruth. Zezenin Finif Megillus. There are 5 Megillus. Esther, Shir Hashirim on Passover, Ecclesiastes, Shmini Atzeres. You have Ecclesiastes, Echa on Tisha B'Av. Okay, so you have, and yes, I think that's all of them. All right, so we have all the different ones. Mordechai Hatzadik, Mordechai. We call him Mordechai in Hebrew. In Yiddish, it's Mordechai. My Uncle Marty was Mordechai. Everybody called him Mordechai. Okay? Mordechai Hatzadik. Now look at how they spell tzaddik here. T-S. In Hebrew, we have the Hebrew letter tzadi, and a lot of people would make it a T-Z. We don't. Okay. Areshmecha. Areshmach. Areshmach. It's a noisemaker. Remember we saw Geroish, Roish, Resh, and in Hebrew we have a song about Purim. Chag Purim, Ze El Ze Sholchim Manot, Havanarisha, Rash, Roish, Reshmaker. It's all there from the Hebrew. Shalach Monis, gifts of food given on Purim. Shalach has to do with sending, okay? And in the Hebrew, it's mishloach manot, gifts of the hand, or things that are sent of the hand. Traditionally, we send the children to deliver these packages of food to our friends and neighbors. If you are religious, from a man will never give a woman shalach monis and vice versa. You don't do it. Men do not give any other men's wives gifts, not even of food. So if you can't, if you are a man and you have to give it to a woman and you're not married, you have a child or some other woman deliver it for you. This is if you're from. In the conservative and reform shuls, we don't hold with that. We give it right away. Okay? Shikur.
Drunk.
Or just shikar. Okay? Shikar is drunk. On
Drunk.
Purim, it's supposed to be a mitzvah to get so drunk that you don't know the difference between blessed is Mordechai and cursed is Haman. Shikar. I don't recommend it, especially if you have to drive to shul to go to the Megillah reading. Don't get shikar. Okay?
Schnapps.
And what do you get shikar from? Schnapps. Schnapps, alcohol, any hard drink. There is actually a German drink that's known as schnapps, and it's not the same as scotch or bourbon, but in general, we call it schnapps. And if you remember our song, A Be Gesund, we had the word schnapsel. It's a made-up word, but what is it? It's a diminutive of schnapps. I'm gonna get a schnapsel. We're gonna take a little shot. A schnapsel.
It's a glazele.
A glazel, a schnapsel, a glazel schnapps.
Yeah.
Trink, trinkt, trinken, drink. Man trinkt ein bisschen Schnaps auf Purim. Auf Purim man trinkt ein bisschen Schnaps. Nicht kein Sach. Aber a poor Menschen, Taka trinken a Sach. Okay? And by Emetz mentioned, by some people, aller Mul, aller Tug is Purim. Aller Tug macht sich, okay, macht sich aller Tug Purim. He makes for himself reflexive everyday Purim. Because Purim, it's a mitzvah to get drunk. Okay? Wächst in the Breit, via Purim Koilich. Breit, breadth, Breadth, in the breadth. Wächst in Breit. He gets wide like a Purim college. Okay? This one is beautiful. Zoktes in ein Otem, azoivi di aseres b'nei homin. Okay, if you translate it directly, okay, it translates kind of funky. Okay, he says this in one breath, the way one recites the 10 sons of Haman. If you listen to the Megillah reading and you have a really experienced reader, when they get to those 10 sons, they go on one breath as quickly as possible.
Really is the kid.
They are spitting them out because it's vile, vulgar, icky, icky, icky. So, and this one, and that one, and this one, that one, this one, and that one, this one, this one, and that one. Okay. What it really means is he doesn't shut up. He just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking like Al's doing now. He doesn't shut up. He just keeps talking. Okay. Zoktes en ein Otem. An Otem is a breath. A zoivi di aseres b'nei Haman. Okay, the 10 sons of Haman. Es wird gedoiren von Esther Tonis bis Purim. The Tonis is a fast. Okay, so
Yes.
Esther Tonis, the fast of Esther. Okay. There's an extra S here that doesn't belong. Esvet. Notice how I have the S apostrophe. S-E-S, vet,
It is.
V-E-T. We make a contraction, svet, like S is, siz, S apostrophe I-Z, something we do in Yiddish. Svet gedoyeret, it will last, when Estaton is bis Purim, from the fast of Esther until Purim, which is exactly as she told you, one day apart.
One day.
And this is a nice thing to say to somebody. Sollst haben Esther Hamalkas Chaim.
Oh,
Esther Hamalkas Chaim. You should have Queen Esther's charm. You should be as delightful as Queen Esther is. Obviously, she was a beauty to behold. King Ahasuerus took one look at her and was enthralled. And when you can't come before the king just like this uninvited. When she needed to see him, Mordecai said, "You got to plead for the Jews. We're going to die." When she appeared at the gate of his, not the castle, but the kingdom hall where he was sitting on the throne. When he saw her from the distance, right away he put out his scepter to invite her in. Okay, otherwise it was unheard of because he was so enthralled with her. So he say, "Sollst haben Esther Hamalkas Chaim." You should have the charm of Queen Esther.
Sollst haben Esther Hamalkas Chaim.
Esther Hamalkas Chaim. By the way, Chen not only means charm, it also means grace. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim from one of the prayers. And in Hebrew, somebody whose name would be Grace in English, her name is Chen. Chen. Okay. Chen. So here we have that one. All right. That's the Hamalkas Chaim. All right. So let's see. Do we have, before I go on, questions? Okay. Do we have any newbies with us tonight? Anybody's first time with us? No. Okay. Anybody that's been here less than 3 months?
Alan, I have a question. It's Orna.
Okay, Orna, go ahead.
Just question. I know that noise is rash, but what did you have as the third word on the vocabulary sheet? You had a
Geräusch. Geräusch. A geräusch.
What is the ge?
A geräusch. It's another word for making a noise. You have rash, okay? A geräusch is a noise, a strange noise, a noise from outside, a loud noise. Oh, wir haben gehört, a geräusch.
Okay, I was not familiar with it. Okay, thank you. Ganze Dank.
There are, this kind of, gedilla. It's not a big deal. In Yiddish, because it is, and I use the word because I've heard it used by so many professors, a bastard language. We have taken words from Hungary, from Poland, from Germany, from Belarus, from all of the different lands that we were dispersed in, and we just merged it all together with the basic Yiddish, which is really Middle German and Hebrew combined. And from this, we've crafted a language. So depending upon where you come from, you may use a word I've never heard of. I may use a word you've never heard of. But it's the same thing. Okay. My favorite thing is chalupchis. Some people call them chalupchis. Some people call them prakas. All right. What are they? They're stuffed cabbages. Depends where you came from. If you came from Hungary, they're chalupchis. If you came from Poland, they're prakas. Or from Russia, they're prakas. Same stuff. All right.
Okay.
Different stuff. All right.
When you say middle German, how far back does that go?
Probably to the 14th or 15th century. Think about our Chaucerian English, what we call Middle English. Okay. The type of stuff that Shakespeare wrote, the type of stuff that Chaucer wrote. It's English, but without a cheat sheet, sometimes it's kind of hard. Open Chaucer and try to read the Canterbury Tales or the Miller's Tale, the things that he wrote without a cheat sheet. What the hell is he saying?
Yeah.
What is that man saying? Okay. It's a little strange to us. Middle German. This is not what we call today Hochdeutsch. High Dutch. Hochdeutsch is High Dutch or High German, which is what the German is spoken
maybe
today.
From around 1200 or 1300?
Yeah, maybe a little later, maybe a century more later, but certainly not even by the 1800s, they were speaking a different form of German.
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to do a study and you dig down deep, there are probably 100, or maybe not quite 100, but there are close to 100 dialects of Yiddish, most of which are now obsolete. Nobody speaks it.
There was
Most of them are obsolete.
There was
Matter of fact, I think they did something on the Yiddish Alive with that. Harvey, do you remember? I think somebody gave us a lecture on that once. Maybe Barry. One of our guys is a doctor, and he really is into this stuff. And I believe we might have seen it there. But if not, if you go looking for it, how many dialects of Yiddish are out there? So they say most of them are obsolete, but there's many more than just a couple we know. You know, Litvak and Glitziana.
Yep.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more. All right. So what else did I have here? I had for you, if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Yes. Zalman Mlotek. For those who are not familiar with Zalman Mlotek, he is a fantastic piano player, composer, Yiddish songster, and he has a whole bunch of songs for Purim. Most of them are a little difficult to deal with, but I picked up two. I did not do translations, but if you listen carefully, you will see that you know most of the words. So let me get that up there for us. And let's listen in for a minute. Make sure that I have the sound on. Yes, I do. Okay. I want to go to 414. Where am I going? 414. Boop, boop, boop. And a 414. Okay. Just let it get.
No sound.
All right, here we go.
No sound.
Not getting the sound.
Still not getting the sound. All right, hang on a minute.
All right.
We get to 414. All right. I thought we had it. Where are we? All right. Now, more sound. Okay, I don't know. I had it on before. I don't know why it did that. I apologize. Okay. No, I don't need to do that again. I need to do this. Yep. Okay, let's try it again.
Purim say good.
We hear it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
To Yiddish schools. I went to the Abitaring, to the workers circle Yiddish school. I went to Shula Drai in the Bronx. And my music teacher was Michal Gelbart. And Michal Gelbart, who is credited to have written the music to another holiday song, but also wrote this next song that we sing, that I learned from him. So sing it with me. Ay, 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 ay. 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 Lass mir alle sein zufrieden. Sie sei Jomtev ein bei Jeden. Purim, 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 Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. A Liederle von Purim. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Sing with me. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Komm mir sich Matone schenken, Jomtev Purim zu gedenken. Urim, Purim, Purim, Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim. A Liederle von Purim. Ay, 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 ay. 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 Lass mir singen und sich freuen und dem Krage drehen, drehen. Purim, 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 Purim. Singt a Liederle von Purim, singt a Liederle von Purim, singt a Liederle von Purim, a Liederle von Purim. Ay, 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 ay.
Okay. Zingt a Liedele from Purim. Sing a
little-
song, a little song, a
Little song
Liedele
for Purim.
from Purim. Okay. And then he talks about making noise with the graga. He talks about a couple of different things. But most of those words we've already had. They're all of them in the vocabulary sheets. Let's see. I had one more near the end. 1936. I want to put it in just the right spot because I don't want to spend more time than we need to. Okay. Oh, maybe I have it in the wrong one there. No, it's a little too far.
Noch a glass.
I think I
Drinking wine.
no, I don't have the right one.
Mit dem Bobben in Roda herein, and they took Zed and Bubba into the circle.
Sadie and Bubba into the circle.
Oh, I screwed it up. There we go. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I am so sorry, people. I'm going to give myself a patch later.
It's good.
Okay, here it comes.
And then we sing La mir alle nenem, all together. Trinken a glass of wine, drink a glass of wine. Let's imagine it's Mottel's birthday. La mir alle in einem, Mottel mekabo bonem sein. Mottel mekabo, we're greeting him. La mir alle nenem, trinken a glass of wine. And it can go on, and you can greet everybody in the world. Of course, on birthdays we do have a birthday song, and it's not it is not that. It's a song that Abraham Goldfaden, the father of the Yiddish theater, wrote for an operetta called The Kishevmacher that we actually did a beautiful production of last year. And the text of the birthday song is Zu dein Geburtstag, to your birthday, zu dein Yom Tov Hain, to your holiday, sennen sich gekommen, alle deine gute Freunde. So all your good friends have gathered. Jeder wünscht dir viel Getreide. Everyone wishes you from the bottom of their heart loyal wishes. Wiffel Naches und Freude. A lot of pride, a lot of happiness. Zu dein Geburtstag, zu dein Yom Tov Hain, haben sich versammelt deine gute Freund. Jeder wünscht dir viel Getreide, Wiffel Naches und Freude. Wie wat mir wünschen dir, gesinnt. Wie wat mir wünschen dir, gesinnt. Wie wat. That's a birthday song.
Okay. So There's a little bit more than that. Again, all of this stuff and so much more is out there for you on YouTube. And believe it or not, with the vocabulary that we've developed over the last year and a half, almost 2 years, let's see, 50 sessions. It's just about 2 years. 2 years ago, the end of March. So we're almost at our 2-year anniversary, okay? We've learned a lot of Yiddish. We can't speak fluently, most of us, but we know enough that if we listen to something, we can pick up enough that we get the gist of it all. And again, there's so much out there. By the way, I have picked up, and I will continue to pick up, things from Rachel Schechter, but I don't use everything she's got. But if you go out there online looking for the Forverts, F-O-R-V-E-R-T-S, the Forverts Yiddish word of the day, you will find all of them. And you can feel free to run them and stop it when you want to and write down the words just like she gives them to you, and the expressions just like she gives them to you. And you can add them to your own glossary, or just remember as you go along. The thing is, you can play them over and over and over and over again. So there's a lot out there, okay? This is a quick session because we had all the stuff from Emil Cohen, a couple of songs, and the stuff for Purim. But I think next time we're going to get back into our regular spiel, probably doing a whole lot of just Yiddish words and Yiddish expressions, and a bissel Sprachen, yeah? A bissel schmoozen. We'll talk amongst one another a little bit and practice a little Yiddish. This is good, yeah?
Yeah.
Nein?
Oh.
Ich weiß nicht. Das ist ja. This is nein. This is ich weiß nicht. This is yes. This is no. This is I don't know.
Yeah.
Es ist schon jetzt 9 Säge. Es ist Zeit zu schlafen gehen.
Yeah.
Efter nicht. Efter du ist Tee und ein Stückel Leckach. Was ist Leckach?
Honey.
Cake.
Prune.
Cake.
Cake.
Cake. Leckach is cake.
Cake.
Als ich bin a bissel krank, noch jetzt a bissel krank, will ich nehmen mit dem Tee
Honey.
Honig.
Honey.
Honey.
Was ist
Honey.
Honig?
And
Honey.
Honey.
Als viel sei geht dort. De heiße Honig, de heiße Tee mit dem Honig. Oh, es ist a chai off the ling. It's a revival on the lungs, okay? So I wish everybody a good Nacht. And we get the Zayn, im Yetz Hashem, and get there alle Zayn. 2 Wochen, 2 Wochen wenn, 2 Wochen in the Kummendeck. 2 Wochen in the Kummendeck.
I just want to say, I see Freddie Kammer there. I want to tell you I'm sorry for your loss, and
Thank you.
Yes.
we will
yes.
miss Bonnie.
Oh, such a sweet, lovely, wonderful lady. And right up to the very end, she was going to be part of this group.
He was
He
with
was
us.
here
Sick
with
as she
us.
was. I love her. I love her.
Her,
I'm not missing that group.
I'll send you, my brother's writing up her eulogy to send out. And her final, her final words were, "I love you all very much, Dayenu." That
Really?
was it.
Wow,
That's
So
amazing.
thank you all very much.
beautiful, beautiful.
And thank you for being her friends.
Oh, that part was easy, Fred.
No
Believe
thanks.
me,
That's
it was
right.
easy.
That's right.
All right. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Seien mir alle gesund. Everybody be well.
Danke so.
All right.
Vielen Dank.
Put out those other
Danke
pieces.
schön.
Those
Schönen
are easy.
Tag, Al.